Another item I wanted to get to today, a judge ruled yesterday in Brunswick, Georgia, which is down on the coast here in the Peach State. A judge ruled that he'll seat one black juror and 11 white jurors to decide the trial of the three men who chased and killed Ahmaud Arbery. You remember that case, right? Back in February of 2020. The judge ruled this way, even though prosecutors objected and said that several potential jurors who happened to be black were cut from the jury pool because of their race. Oh, no, not in South Georgia. That couldn't happen. Oh, for heaven's sake. The Superior Court judge who made this decision, one Timothy Walmsley, agreed that the attorneys for the three white defendants charged in the death of Mr. Arbery applied intentional discrimination, the attorneys for the killers, in order to shape the jury selection. But the judge said that since he's a judge in Georgia, the law limited his authority to intervene. Oh, well, I see. Well, then, okay, I guess there's nothing that can be done. 11 white people from South Georgia, one black person, and now they're going to decide the fate of these three rednecks, two of whom chased down, well, all three of them chased him, one of whom shot him dead with a goddamn shotgun, what appeared to be at point blank range. And what was the black man doing? What was Arbery doing? He was running through the neighborhood. He was out jogging. Race, don't laugh when I say this, race is a central issue in this case involving the death of Ahmaud Arbery. The killers, Greg McMichael and his adult son, Travis McMichael, armed themselves intentionally and pursued Arbery in a pickup truck on February 23rd, 2020, after they saw this black man, 25-year-old Arbery, running in their neighborhood. And then a neighbor of these two white killers, a guy named William Roddy Bryan, joined the chase in his own pickup and took cell phone video of Travis McMichael, the son of the other redneck, shooting Ahmaud Arbery 3 times, count them, 3 times with a shotgun. Have you ever fired a shotgun? You know how the pattern of the pellets, depending, of course, it's a 12 gauge or a 16 gauge or what have you, but the pellets, the pattern that it forms as it tears into flesh, 3 times. Now, Wednesday afternoon, according to the Associated Press, a heated debate over the racial makeup of the final jury erupted in court, as the prosecutors are insisting that this is bullshit. I mean, here we are in South Georgia, 11 white people and 1 black juror. Now, I don't know what the verdict's going to be. We don't know what the trial is going to be like, obviously, because we're not there and it hasn't occurred yet. But just the idea that of a huge jury pool that contained numerous black folk and numerous white folk, that the defense, through Georgia law, managed to eliminate all but 1 black person from this jury is madness. And it's something that black folk are very familiar with. They know how this shit works. The death of Mr. Arbery is part of a broader reckoning of racial injustice in the criminal legal system. I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement, what is contained on the college level in critical race theory that examines just this. It's not taught to anybody, but it examines how institutional racism has totally fucked over black people in this country. But this broader reckoning of racial injustice in the criminal legal system, this reached the forefront of America's consciousness after a string of murders of black people by police. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Rayshard Brooks. The names are still memorable, right? Now, to give you an idea of what South Georgia justice is like, nobody was charged in Ahmaud Arbery's death until more than 2 months afterward, when the video of the shooting leaked and showed up online. Nobody was charged. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation took over the case from local police and then arrested all three of these thugs on charges of murder and several other crimes. And minutes after the attorneys had finished narrowing, this is yesterday, a panel of 48 to a final jury of 12 yesterday, the prosecutor, Linda Dunikoski, noted that only a single black juror was going to be on the panel. And she argued that defense lawyers had struck 8 black potential jurors because of their race. Now, we do know, do we not, that the U.S. Supreme Court has held that it's unconstitutional for attorneys during jury selection to strike potential jurors because of their race or their ethnicity. But an attorney for one of the killers insisted those jury panelists were cut for other reasons. For example, because they expressed strong opinions about the case when questioned individually by attorneys. And this attorney for one of the killers, Laura Hogue is her name, she said, quote, "I can give you a race-neutral reason for any of those," end quote. And she noted one black juror had written on her questionnaire that Mr. Arbery was shot, quote, "due to his color," end quote. And she had told attorneys she felt the defendants were guilty. Now, to me, that's horseshit, because that woman or that potential juror never would have made it to the final cut to begin with. Have you ever served on a jury? I have. And the questions, when they're going through, I forget the Latin term, but when they're going through jury selection, some of the questions are designed specifically to see if you are prejudiced in favor of the defendant or in favor of the victim, regardless of the crime. And if so, why? The Superior Court judge in all this, Walmsley, denied the prosecutor's request to reinstate those 8 black potential jurors, even though the judge said this, quote, "This court has found there appears to be intentional discrimination in the panel," end quote. There appears to be intentional discrimination, but golly gosh damn darn, there's nothing I can do about it. The judge said his ability to change the racial makeup of the jury was limited because defense attorneys were able to give non-racial reasons for their decisions to strike the potential black jurors. The judge then said that the jury, along with 4 alternates, will be seated and sworn in tomorrow, when opening statements in the trial are expected. And I guess wisely, he didn't give the race of the alternate jurors. Now, Arbery's mother, the young man who was killed by these thugs, his mother told reporters outside the courthouse that she found it, quote, devastating, end quote, that only one black juror will be seated. Still, she said of the final jury, quote, I'm very confident that they'll make the right decision after seeing all the evidence. Why do you suppose Arbery's mother said she was devastated to learn that only one black juror will be seated on this jury? You don't suppose she knows something about justice in South Georgia, or justice in Georgia, or justice in the Southeast, or justice across the entire country when it comes to the death of a black man at the hands of white people? Do you suppose Arbery's mother knows stuff that you and I don't? If you and I don't know it, it's because we are willfully ignorant. We do know. And trust me on this, truth seekers, I live here. I live in Georgia. I know what's going on here. I've lived here for half a century. I know about Southern, cough, cough, justice where it concerns black folk at the hands of white people. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've witnessed it. I've screamed about it. I've talked about it. In the jury selection, just if you're keeping track here, 1,000 people got jury duty notices, and nearly 200 people were questioned by the judge and attorneys at the courthouse during jury selection. But you know what? They could only find them one black person. One black person. But they found just a whole damn bunch of whites to sit on the jury. It just never stops, does it? It just never, ever stops. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.